I found out at dinner. Not a casual dinner. Not even a planned one. My dad had texted me that afternoon, just a simple free tonight? Let's grab food, and I'd said yes because we hadn't caught up in weeks. Work had been brutal. Life had been busy. And honestly, I missed him. I showed up at Marino's, this Italian place we'd been going to since I was a kid. Red checkered tablecloths. Candles and wine bottles crusted with years of wax. The smell of garlic and tomato sauce so thick you could taste it in the air. Our usual spot. Except when I walked in, I saw 3 place settings. My stomach did this weird flip. Dad was standing by the table, hands in his pockets, doing that thing where he rocks back on his heels when he's nervous. And next to him was Maya. My Maya. My best friend since sophomore year of high school. The girl who held my hair back when I got food poisoning at prom. Who helped me move into my first apartment. Who knew every password, every secret, every stupid embarrassing thing I'd ever done. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen before. Something floral and fitted. Her hair was different too, curled, intentional. And when she looked at me, her smile was wrong. Too bright. Too apologetic. Surprise, my dad said, and his voice cracked on the word. I stood there in the doorway of Marino's, coat still on, purse hanging off one shoulder, and I knew. I knew before anyone said a single word. The way they were standing. The way she wouldn't quite meet my eyes. The 3rd place setting. My best friend was dating my father. And they'd invited me to dinner to tell me. Let me back up. My name is Claire. I'm 29 years old. I work in marketing for a tech startup that sells software nobody actually needs, but corporations buy anyway because it makes them feel innovative. I live alone in a 1-bedroom apartment with a shower that never gets hot enough and a neighbor who plays the violin at midnight. My life is aggressively normal. My dad is 52. He's a civil engineer. He wears khakis and polo shirts. He listens to classic rock too loud in his truck. He makes the same 3 jokes at every family gathering. He's been single for 8 years, ever since my mom left him for her Pilates instructor and moved to Arizona. And Maya is also 29. She works as a graphic designer. She drinks oat milk lattes and does yoga and has a succulent garden she's somehow kept alive for 3 years, which is more commitment than she's ever shown to a boyfriend. She's beautiful in this effortless way that used to make me jealous when we were teenagers, before I realized she was just as insecure as everyone else. She was my person. The kind of friend you assume will be in your life forever. The kind you'd trust with anything. Including, apparently, my father. I sat down at the table because what else was I going to do? Run out screaming? Flip the table? I'm not that person. I'm the person who smiles through discomfort. Who processes privately. Who waits until she's alone in her car to have a breakdown. So I sat. The waiter came over. I ordered wine. A large glass. Then I changed it to a bottle. Claire, my dad started, and I held up a hand. Just, give me a second. Maya was fidgeting with her napkin. Folding it. Unfolding it. Her nails were painted this deep burgundy color. I noticed because I was staring at her hands instead of her face, because if I looked at her face I might actually lose it. How long? I asked. Silence. How long, I repeated, slower this time, enunciating each word like I was talking to a child. 3 months, Maya said quietly. 3 months. 3 entire months. And neither of them had said a word to me. I laughed. Not because anything was funny, but because the alternative was throwing my water glass across the room. 3 months, I echoed. Okay. Okay. So let me get this straight. You, I pointed at Maya, started dating my dad, I pointed at him, 3 months ago. And you both decided that the best way to tell me was to ambush me at our family restaurant with a surprise dinner announcement? We didn't want to hurt you, my dad said. The wine arrived. I poured myself a glass immediately, filled it almost to the brim, and took a long drink before responding. Well, mission fucking accomplished. Here's the thing about betrayal, it doesn't hit you all at once. At first, it's just shock. Your brain kind of short-circuits. You hear the words, you understand them individually, but stringing them together into a coherent reality feels impossible. My best friend. My dad. Dating. It's like trying to solve a math equation where the numbers don't exist. Then comes the nausea. Physical, gut-wrenching nausea. Because you start replaying every interaction in your head. Every time they were in the same room. Every dinner, every birthday party, every casual "oh, Maya stopped by" that suddenly takes on a completely different meaning. My dad had helped Maya move last month. He'd offered. Said he had a truck and she needed furniture hauled. I thought it was sweet. Fatherly, even. She'd come to his house for a barbecue in July. I couldn't make it because of work, but she'd texted me photos. Burgers on the grill. My dad and his stupid apron that says Grill Sergeant. She'd written, "Your dad is so funny." Your dad. Not Jim. Not your father. Your dad. Like he was mine. Like she was respecting that boundary. Except she wasn't. She was fucking him. I need you to understand something about my relationship with my father. We're not particularly close. I love him, obviously. He's my dad. But after the divorce, things got complicated. He kind of shut down emotionally. Threw himself into work. Started going to the gym obsessively. Grew a beard. Bought a motorcycle he never rides. We'd have dinner once a month, maybe. Exchange texts on birthdays and holidays. It was fine. Functional. We weren't estranged, but we weren't particularly tight either. Maya, on the other hand, Maya knew everything. She knew that my dad had forgotten my college graduation. That he'd missed my 30th birthday party last year because of a work trip he'd prioritized. That our relationship had always been just a little bit distant, a little bit disappointing. She knew all of that. And she still decided he was worth dating. Say something, Maya whispered. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Trying to find the person I'd known for 13 years. Trying to reconcile that person with the one sitting across from me, wearing a dress meant to impress my father. What do you want me to say? I asked. Congratulations? We didn't plan this, my dad interjected. It just happened. Nothing just happens, I snapped. You made choices. Both of you. Multiple choices. To pursue this. To hide it. I stopped, took a breath. When did it start? And I want the truth. They exchanged a look. One of those couple looks. The silent communication that happens when two people are on the same team. I wasn't on that team anymore. Remember when you introduced us at that fundraiser? Maya said. For the animal shelter? I remembered. 4 months ago. Maya had wanted to volunteer, and I'd mentioned that my dad was on the board. I'd introduced them. Briefly. A handshake and a nice to meet you. We ran into each other again a few weeks later, she continued. At the coffee shop on 5th. We just started talking. And then he asked if I wanted to grab lunch sometime. I thought it would be nice to get to know your friends better, my dad added quickly. To be more involved in your life. I stared at him. By dating one of them? It wasn't like that at first. Then what was it like? Maya jumped in. We were just friends. We'd meet up occasionally. Talk. And then one day. She trailed off, eyes going soft with memory. I wanted to vomit. One day what? I pressed. One day I realized I had feelings for him, she said quietly. Real feelings. And I didn't know what to do about it because I knew it would hurt you. But Claire, I've never felt like this about anyone. He listens to me. He sees me. He's 52 years old. I shouted. The table next to us went quiet. I lowered my voice, but barely. He's 23 years older than you. He's my father. This is insane. You realize that, right? This is genuinely insane. Age is just a number, my dad said, and I actually laughed out loud. Oh my God. Did you actually just say that? Did you seriously just? I pressed my palms against my eyes, trying to physically push back the headache forming behind them. When I looked up again, they were holding hands on top of the table. That's what broke me. Not the confession. Not the timeline. Not even the age gap. The fact that they were holding hands. In public. At our restaurant. Comfortable enough to do it in front of me. They'd already built something. Something real and established and intimate enough that hand-holding was natural. And I'd been completely outside of it. I need to leave, I said, standing up so fast my chair scraped loudly against the floor. Claire, please, Maya started. Don't. I grabbed my purse, my coat. Just don't. Can we at least talk about this? My dad asked. I looked at him. My father. The man who'd taught me to ride a bike and helped me with my math homework and walked me down the aisle at my cousin's wedding when her dad was sick. The man who'd been a constant, if distant, presence in my life. What's there to talk about? I said. You made your choice. Both of you. You chose each other. So congratulations. I hope you're very happy. I walked out before either of them could respond. I made it to my car before I started crying. Not pretty crying. Ugly crying. The kind where your whole body shakes and you can't catch your breath and snot is running down your face. I sat in the driver's seat with the engine off, headlights from the parking lot cutting through my windshield, and I sobbed. For what? I wasn't even sure. The betrayal, obviously. But also the loneliness of it. The realization that the two people I'd thought I could count on had formed an alliance that specifically excluded me. My phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Please call me when you're ready to talk. Then another from my dad, I love you, Claire. This doesn't change that. I turned my phone off. The drive home was a blur. I don't remember most of it. Just the muscle memory of turns and stop signs and the weird autopilot your brain goes into when it's too overwhelmed to process reality. When I got to my apartment, I poured myself a whiskey, something my dad had given me last Christmas, ironically, and sat on my couch in the dark. I kept replaying the dinner. Their faces. The way Maya had looked at him. The way he'd looked at her. They were in love. Actually, genuinely in love. I could see it. In the soft way she smiled when he talked. In how he kept glancing at her like he couldn't quite believe she was real. They had that nauseating glow that new couples have. That stupid, oblivious happiness. And somehow, that made it worse. Because I couldn't even hate them properly. I couldn't write this off as some midlife crisis fling or Maya having daddy issues. This was real. They were serious. Which meant it wasn't going away. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, running through every possible response. Every conversation I could have. Every way I could handle this. Option 1, cut them both off completely. Block their numbers. Refuse to engage. Let them live their weird little life without me in it. Option 2. Pretend to be okay with it. Smile through family dinners. Be the bigger person. Slowly die inside. Option 3, fight. Make it difficult. Force them to choose. Burn the whole thing down. None of them felt right. By the time the sun came up, I'd decided on option 4, avoidance. I would simply not deal with it. I'd be too busy. Too unavailable. I'd let them exist in their bubble while I rebuilt my life without them. It was a coward's choice, maybe. But it felt like the only one I could survive. The next few days were strange. I went to work. I answered emails. I sat through meetings. On the surface, everything was normal. But inside, I was constantly vibrating with this low-level rage. Every interaction felt fake. Every smile I gave felt like a lie. I was performing the role of Claire, functional, professional, fine, while the real me was locked somewhere deep inside, screaming. Maya texted every day. Long messages. Explanations. Apologies. I never meant to hurt you. You're my best friend, and I can't lose you. Please just let me explain in person. I didn't respond. My dad called twice. I let it go to voicemail both times. On day 4, my mom called. Your father told me, she said, without preamble. Of course he did. And? I asked. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous, she said. That girl is your age, Claire. What the hell is he thinking? Hearing my mom validate my feelings should have felt good. But instead, it just made me tired. I don't want to talk about it, I said. Well, you should. You can't just ignore this. Why not? Silence. Because it's not healthy, she finally said. You need to process this. Talk to someone. A therapist, maybe. I'm fine. You're not fine. I can hear it in your voice. I hung up. On day 7, something shifted. I was at the grocery store, buying wine and frozen pizza because cooking felt impossible, when I saw them. My dad and Maya. Together. In the produce section. They didn't see me. I was halfway down the aisle, partly hidden behind a display of crackers. But I could see them clearly. Maya was holding a basket. My dad was examining tomatoes with this intense focus, like choosing the right one was a matter of life and death. She said something I couldn't hear, and he laughed. Really laughed. Threw his head back, eyes crinkling, the kind of laugh I hadn't seen from him in years. Then he kissed her. Just a quick peck. Casual. Comfortable. The kind of kiss that happens when you've done it 100 times before. And I felt nothing. Not rage. Not sadness. Just this hollow, empty nothing. I left my card in the aisle and walked out. That night, I called my college roommate, Jen. Jen and I hadn't talked in months. We'd drifted after graduation, the way people do. But she was the only person I could think of who might understand. Holy shit, she said, after I told her everything. Holy actual shit, Claire. I know. Your dad? Your 52-year-old father? Yeah. And Maya just went for it? Apparently. Jen was quiet for a moment. Then, what are you going to do? I don't know, I admitted. I genuinely have no idea. Do you want my opinion? Sure. Cut them both off. Completely. They made their choice. Now you make yours. It's not that simple. Why not? I didn't have a good answer. 2 weeks after the dinner, Maya showed up at my apartment. I didn't let her in at first. Just stood in the doorway, arms crossed, waiting. I'm not leaving until we talk, she said. Then you're going to be waiting a while. Claire, please. She looked tired. Dark circles under her eyes. Hair pulled back in a messy bun. No makeup. This was Maya at her most vulnerable, and part of me hated that I still cared. What do you want me to say? I asked. That I'm happy for you? That I forgive you? I want you to listen, she said. For 5 minutes. Please. Against my better judgment, I let her in. We sat on opposite ends of my couch. The same couch where we'd watched movies and shared bottles of wine and complained about our jobs. The same couch where she'd cried when her grandmother died. Where I'd cried when I got laid off 3 years ago. I never meant for this to happen, Maya started. I need you to know that. You said that already. Because it's true. When I met him at that fundraiser, I didn't think anything of it. He was just your dad. But then we kept running into each other, and we'd talk, and Claire, he's amazing. He's funny and smart and he listens. Really listens. Not in that fake way guys do when they're just waiting for their turn to talk. He's my father, I said flatly. I know. Trust me, I know. I fought it for so long. I told myself it was wrong. That I was crazy. But feelings don't just go away because they're inconvenient. You could have told me. Would you have been okay with it? No. Exactly. So what was I supposed to do? Not date him. I shouted. Of all the people in the world, you could have chosen literally anyone else. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I love him, Claire. I know that sounds insane. I know you probably think I'm insane. But I've never felt like this about anyone. And I can't just turn it off because it's complicated. Complicated, I repeated. That's what you're calling this? Complicated? What would you call it? A betrayal. The word hung in the air between us. Maya flinched like I'd slapped her. I didn't betray you, she said quietly. You started dating my father without telling me. For 3 months. That's the definition of betrayal. I was trying to protect you. By lying? By waiting for the right time. There is no right time for this. I stood up, started pacing. You knew, how complicated my relationship with my dad is. You knew everything. Every missed birthday, every disappointing conversation, every time I wished we were closer. You knew all of that, and you still decided he was worth more than our friendship. That's not fair. None of this is fair, Maya. You want me to be happy for you? To give you my blessing? I can't. I can't even look at you without feeling sick. She was crying now. Full tears running down her face. And I felt nothing. No urge to comfort her. No guilt for making her cry. Just this cold, hard wall where our friendship used to be. I don't want to lose you, she whispered. You already did, I said. The moment you chose him. She left after that. I watched from my window as she got into her car, my dad's truck, actually, because of course she was driving his truck, and sat there for a long time before driving away. My phone rang almost immediately. My dad. I answered this time. Maya just called me, he said. She's really upset. Good. Claire. No. You don't get to do this. You don't get to call me and make me feel bad because your girlfriend is crying. She's not just my girlfriend. She's your best friend. Was. She was my best friend. Past tense. He sighed. That heavy, disappointed sigh that always made me feel like I was being unreasonable, even when I wasn't. This doesn't have to destroy our relationship, he said. What relationship, Dad? We barely had one to begin with. Silence. That's not true, he finally said, but his voice was uncertain. Isn't it? When was the last time we had a real conversation? When was the last time you asked me about my life, my job, anything that mattered? You've been emotionally checked out since Mom left, and I've just accepted it. But this? This I can't accept. I'm trying to be happy, Claire. For the first time in years, I'm actually happy. Doesn't that matter? Not if it comes at my expense. It doesn't have to. But it does, I interrupted. Because every time I see you with her, I'm reminded that you chose your happiness over my feelings. That you started something with my best friend and hid it from me because you knew I'd be hurt. You knew, and you did it anyway. I love her. 3 words. Simple. Direct. And devastating. Because what was I supposed to say to that? That love wasn't enough? That he should sacrifice his happiness for my comfort? It would make me sound petty and selfish. But I felt petty and selfish. Then I guess you made your choice, I said. I hung up before he could respond. The thing about cutting people out of your life is that it leaves holes. Big, gaping holes where they used to be. I couldn't watch certain TV shows because they reminded me of Maya. Couldn't go to certain restaurants because my dad and I used to go there. Couldn't even listen to classic rock without thinking about him. My life became smaller. Quieter. I threw myself into work. Stayed late at the office. Volunteered for projects nobody else wanted. Anything to avoid going home to my empty apartment where I'd inevitably start thinking about everything I'd lost. My coworkers noticed. "You okay?" my manager asked one day, catching me at my desk at 8 p.m. "Fine," I lied. "Just trying to hit this deadline." She didn't look convinced, but she didn't push. A month passed. Then 2. Maya stopped texting. My dad stopped calling. They'd gotten the message. I should have felt relieved. Vindicated, even. I'd drawn my line in the sand, and they'd respected it. Instead, I felt hollow. I started seeing a therapist. Dr. Chen. She was in her 60s, had one of those calm, knowing faces that made you want to tell her everything. "Tell me about your father," she said during our first session. "Do we have to start there?" "We can start wherever you'd like." I talked about Maya instead. About the betrayal. About how someone I'd trusted completely had proven herself untrustworthy. Dr. Chen listened, took notes, then asked, "What are you most angry about?" "That she dated my dad." "Is that really it?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "No," I admitted. "I'm angry that she didn't choose me." "Choose you over what?" "Over him. Over the relationship. Over everything." Dr. Chen nodded. "And what about your father? What are you angry at him for?" "The same thing. He didn't choose me either." "Did you want him to?" "Yes." "No. I don't know." I pressed my hands against my face. "I know that's not fair. I know he deserves to be happy. But why did his happiness have to come from my best friend? Why couldn't he date literally anyone else in the world?" "Have you asked him that?" "No." "Why not?" "Because I don't want to hear his answer." Dr. Chen gave me homework. Write a letter to Maya. And one to my dad. I didn't have to send them. Just write them. So I did. "Dear Maya. Asterisk, I don't know if I'll ever send this. I don't even know what I want to say. But my therapist says I should write it anyway, so here goes asterisk. Asterisk, I'm angry at you. I think I'll be angry at you for a long time. You took something from me that I can't get back, not just our friendship, but the possibility of having both you and my dad in my life simultaneously. You made me choose. And I hate you for that, asterisk. Asterisk, but I also miss you. I miss our late-night phone calls. I miss sending you stupid memes. I miss having someone who knew me well enough to finish my sentences, asterisk. Asterisk, I keep waiting to stop missing you. I keep waiting for the anger to drown out everything else. But it hasn't happened yet, asterisk. Asterisk, you said you love him. I believe you. I've seen it. And I think that's what hurts most, that this isn't some fling or phase. This is real for you. Which means it's not going away, asterisk. Asterisk, I don't know how to exist in a world where you're with my dad. I don't know how to show up at family dinners or birthday parties or weddings knowing you'll be there, holding his hand, being introduced as his girlfriend. The thought of it makes me physically ill. Asterisk. Asterisk, maybe that makes me a bad person. Maybe I'm supposed to be more evolved than this. More mature. More forgiving. Asterisk. But I'm not. Asterisk, I'm just a person who lost her best friend to her father, and I don't know how to forgive that. Asterisk. Claire. Dad. Asterisk, I've been thinking a lot about our relationship. Or lack thereof. Asterisk. Asterisk, you're right that we were never that close. After the divorce, you kind of disappeared. Not physically, you were still around, still showed up to important events, but emotionally, you shut down. And I learned not to need you, because needing you hurt too much when you weren't there. Asterisk. Asterisk, I thought I'd made peace with that. With having a father who was present but distant. A father who loved me in theory but didn't know how to show it in practice. Asterisk. Asterisk, and then you met Maya, and suddenly you were capable of all these things I didn't think you could do. You listened to her. Opened up to her. Made time for her. You became the version of yourself I'd always wanted you to be. Asterisk. Just not for me. For her. Asterisk, that's what I can't forgive. Not that you're dating her. Not even that you hid it. But that you were able to be emotionally available for someone else while I spent 29 years wishing you'd be that way with me. Asterisk. Asterisk, you said you're happy. I believe you. But your happiness came at the cost of our relationship, whatever that relationship was. And I don't know if that's a trade you should have made. Asterisk. Asterisk, I don't know if I want you in my life anymore, Dad. Not because I hate you, but because seeing you hurts. Seeing you with her hurts. Being reminded that I was never enough to make you try this hard hurts. Asterisk. Asterisk, maybe that's dramatic. Maybe I'm being unfair. Asterisk. But it's how I feel. Claire. I didn't send either letter. But writing them helped. Clarified things. I wasn't just angry about the relationship itself. I was angry about what it represented. About being passed over. About not being worth the effort that Maya apparently was. Dr. Chen and I talked about that for weeks. Your father's capacity for emotional intimacy with Maya doesn't negate his love for you, she said. Doesn't it? No. It suggests that romantic relationships activate something different in him than parental ones. That's not uncommon. So I'm just supposed to accept that he can be a good boyfriend but not a good father? You're supposed to accept that he's human. Flawed. Capable of both hurting you and loving you simultaneously. I don't want to accept that. I know. 3 months after the dinner at Marino's, I ran into them again. Not at the grocery store this time. At a wedding. My cousin Sarah was getting married. Big family affair. 200 people. Open bar. The works. I'd known my dad would be there. I'd prepared for that. What I hadn't prepared for was him bringing Maya as his plus one. They arrived together. Matching outfits, him in a navy suit, her in a navy dress. Coordinated, like actual couples do. My stomach dropped. I watched from across the venue as they made the rounds. Introducing Maya to relatives. My aunts and uncles and cousins all shaking her hand, smiling politely, pretending this wasn't the most awkward situation in the world. Some of them knew. I could tell by the way they looked at me afterward. Pity in their eyes. Poor Claire. Her dad's dating her best friend. How awful. I drank 3 glasses of champagne in rapid succession. The ceremony was fine. I sat on the bride's side, as far from my dad as possible. But at the reception, there was assigned seating. And of course, I was at the family table. With my dad. And Maya. Are you fucking kidding me? I muttered when I saw the place cards. My cousin's mom, Aunt Linda, appeared at my elbow. I know it's not ideal, honey. But Sarah wanted family together, and technically, Maya's not family. Well, she might be someday. I stared at her. What does that mean? Aunt Linda looked uncomfortable. Nothing. Forget I said anything. But I couldn't forget it. Someday. As in, this was serious enough that marriage was on the table. That Maya could potentially become my stepmother. I excused myself and locked myself in a bathroom stall for 15 minutes. Dinner was torture. I sat between my dad and some second cousin I'd met twice. Maya was across from me. We didn't speak. The conversations flowed around us. Aunt Linda asked Maya about her job. My dad talked to his brother about work. I pushed food around my plate and drank more champagne. At one point, Maya tried to catch my eye. I looked away. Claire, my dad said quietly. Can we talk? Now? After dinner. Please. I didn't want to. Every instinct told me to say no, to avoid, to protect myself. But I was also exhausted. Exhausted from carrying this anger. From performing normalcy. From pretending I was fine when I very clearly wasn't. Fine, I said. We found a quiet corner outside the reception hall. The sun was setting, casting everything in orange and gold. It should have been beautiful. It just felt sad. I miss you, my dad said. I didn't respond. I know I messed up. I know I handled this wrong. But Claire, you're my daughter. I can't just not have you in my life. You managed fine for the last 3 months. That's not fair. None of this is fair, Dad. He ran a hand through his hair. A nervous gesture I recognized from my childhood. He'd do it before difficult conversations. Before telling me he had to miss a recital or a game or some other thing I'd hoped he'd attend. What do you want from me? He asked. I want you to not be dating my best friend. I can't do that. Then I don't know what to tell you. Silence settled between us. In the distance, music from the reception. Laughter. The clink of glasses. She makes me happy, he said quietly. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's true. For the first time since your mom left, I feel like myself again. Like I have a future that's not just work and an empty house. And what about me? I asked. Where do I fit into this future? Wherever you want to fit. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. I looked at him. Really looked at him. My father. 52 years old. Graying hair. Lines around his eyes. When had he gotten so old? I need you to understand something, I said. What you and Maya have, it destroyed me. Not because I don't want you to be happy, but because the way you pursued that happiness felt like a betrayal. You hid it. You snuck around. And when you finally told me, it wasn't even a conversation. It was an announcement. A fait accompli. We didn't know how else to do it. You could have talked to me first. Before you started dating her. You could have asked how I'd feel. Would you have given us permission? No. But at least I would have been included in the decision. Instead, you made me irrelevant. His face crumpled. Actual emotion breaking through. I never wanted to make you feel irrelevant, he said. You're my daughter. You're the most important person in my life. Am I? Yes. More important than Maya? He hesitated. Just for a second. But it was enough. That's different, he said. You can't compare. You just did. By hesitating. Claire. It's fine, I cut him off. I get it. Really. You love her. She makes you happy. I'm just collateral damage. That's not true. But it felt true. Standing there in the fading light, watching my father struggle to find words that would make this okay, I realized something. Nothing was going to make this okay. This was just how it was now. My father was in love with my former best friend, and I had to decide whether I could live with that or not. I need time, I said finally. I don't know if I can forgive this. I don't know if we can have a relationship while you're with her. But I need time to figure it out. How much time? I don't know. He nodded. Looked like he wanted to say more. Wanted to fix this. But some things can't be fixed with a conversation. I love you, Claire, he said. I know. I didn't say it back. I left the wedding early. Made an excuse about not feeling well, which wasn't entirely a lie. My head was pounding, and my chest felt tight. I drove home in silence. No music. No podcasts. Just the sound of the highway and my own thoughts. When I got to my apartment, I poured myself water instead of wine. Sat on my couch. Stared at the wall. My phone buzzed. A text from Maya, I saw you leave. Are you okay? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, no. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Can I do anything? No. More dots. I'm sorry, Claire. For all of it. I set my phone down without responding. That night, I made a decision. Not to forgive them. I wasn't there yet. Maybe I'd never be there. But to stop letting this consume me. I'd spent 3 months being angry, hurt, betrayed. And it had achieved nothing except making me miserable. My dad was still with Maya. They were still happy. And I was still alone, festering in resentment. Something had to change. Not them. Me. I started small. I responded to Maya's next text. Just a simple thank you when she sent me a meme about our favorite TV show. I answered when my dad called. Kept the conversation short and surface level, but I answered. I stopped actively avoiding them. It wasn't forgiveness. Not even close. It was just less hatred. Less active bitterness. Dr. Chen called it progress. I called it survival. You're choosing to engage, she said during one of our sessions. That's significant. I'm choosing not to be miserable, I corrected. That's different. Is it? Yes. I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing it for me. That's still progress. Maybe. Or maybe I was just tired of fighting. 4 months after the wedding, my dad invited me to dinner. Just the 2 of us. No Maya. I almost said no. But something. Curiosity, maybe, or loneliness, made me say yes. We met at Marino's. Our place. The scene of the original crime. Is this some kind of twisted nostalgia? I asked when I arrived. He smiled weakly. Maybe. Or maybe I wanted to try to reclaim it. Make new memories. Good luck with that. We ordered. Wine for me, beer for him. The waitress didn't comment on the obvious tension, but I saw her glance between us with that knowing look service workers get when they can tell a table is having a conversation. How have you been? My dad asked. Fine. Claire. What do you want me to say? That I'm great? That I've processed everything and moved on? I want you to be honest. Okay. Honestly? I'm still angry. I'm still hurt. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that my father is dating someone my age. But I'm trying. That's the best I can offer right now. He nodded. That's fair. We ate in silence for a few minutes. Then he said, I talked to your mom. I looked up. Why? Because I wanted her perspective. On how to fix this with you. And what did she say? That I'm an idiot. Despite everything, I laughed. She's not wrong. She also said that you're stubborn. Like me. And that if I wanted any chance of repairing our relationship, I needed to give you space but also keep showing up. Keep trying. So that's what this is? You trying? Yes. I took a long drink of wine. I don't know if it'll work, I said. I don't know if I can get past this. I know. But I also don't want to lose you completely. As disappointing as our relationship has been, it's still something. His face did something complicated. Pain and hope and regret all mixed together. I'll take something, he said quietly. We didn't fix everything that night. We didn't even fix much of anything. But we talked. Really talked. For the first time in years, maybe ever. I told him how his emotional distance had affected me growing up. How I'd learned to stop expecting things from him because disappointment hurt too much. He told me about the divorce. How it had broken something in him. How he'd spent years just going through the motions, not really living. And then I met Maya, he said. And it was like waking up after a long sleep. Suddenly I wanted things again. Felt things again. I'm happy that you found that, I said, and part of me meant it. I just wish it hadn't been with her. I know. Do you love her? Yes. Are you going to marry her? He hesitated. Then, maybe. Eventually. If she'll have me. My stepmother. Maya as my stepmother. The thought still made me want to throw up. If you do, I said slowly, I don't know if I can come to the wedding. I understand. Do you? No, he admitted. But I'm trying to. We left the restaurant on better terms than we'd entered it. Not good terms. But better. As we stood in the parking lot, my dad pulled me into a hug. I stiffened at first, then slowly relaxed into it. I'm sorry, he whispered into my hair. For all of it. For not being the father you needed. For handling this so badly. For everything. I didn't say anything. Just stood there, letting myself be held. When we pulled apart, there were tears in his eyes. Can we try again? He asked. Not to fix what happened, but to build something new? I don't know, I said honestly. But I'll think about it. It was the most I could offer. That night, I did something I hadn't done in months. I called Maya. She answered on the first ring, like she'd been waiting. Claire? Hi. Silence. Breathing. I'm not ready to be friends again, I said. I don't know if I ever will be. But I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of this taking up so much space in my life. Okay, she said quietly. I don't forgive you. I want you to know that. What you did, what you both did, it hurt me in ways I'm still unpacking. But I also can't keep living like this. So I'm proposing a truce. What kind of truce? We can exist in the same space. Family events, group things, whatever. We can be civil. But we're not friends. Not anymore. I can live with that, she said, and I could hear tears in her voice. Thank you. Don't thank me. This isn't for you. It's for me. I know. But still. Thank you. Hanging up felt like closing a chapter. Not a happy ending. Not even a satisfying one. Just an ending. I sat on my couch, in my quiet apartment, and felt lighter. Like I'd been carrying a weight I didn't realize was there, and I'd finally set it down. The anger wasn't gone. The hurt wasn't healed. But they were smaller now. Manageable. Dr. Chen would be proud. 6 months after the dinner at Marino's, I went to my dad's house for his birthday. Maya was there. Of course she was. We exchanged polite hellos. She'd brought a salad. I'd brought wine. We didn't hug. It was awkward and uncomfortable and weird, but it was also survivable. I watched them together throughout the evening. The way she touched his arm when she talked. The way he looked at her like she hung the moon. The easy intimacy between them. It still hurt. But it was a different kind of hurt now. Duller. More like a bruise that was healing than an open wound. At one point, my dad pulled me aside. "Thank you for coming," he said. "It's your birthday." Still. I know it's not easy. No, I agreed. It's not. But you're here. I'm here. He smiled. That means everything. I didn't stay long. Made an excuse about an early morning. But I'd shown up. That had to count for something. As I drove home, I thought about everything that had happened. Everything that had changed. I'd lost my best friend. My relationship with my father would never be what it might have been. There were scars now that wouldn't fully fade. But I'd also learned something about myself. I was stronger than I thought. Capable of surviving betrayal. Capable of choosing my own peace over righteous anger. It wasn't the ending I'd wanted. But it was the ending I had. And maybe, eventually, that would be enough. A year after the dinner, I got an invitation in the mail. Thick cardstock. Embossed lettering. James Mitchell and Maya Torres request the honor of your presence. They were getting married. I stared at the invitation for a long time. Then I RSVP'd no. I wasn't ready for that. Maybe I never would be. But I also didn't throw the invitation away. I kept it. Tucked it in a drawer. A reminder of everything that had happened. Everything I'd survived. Dr. Chen asked me how I felt about the wedding invitation. Sad, I admitted. But also okay. Is that weird? No. It's human. I think part of me always knew it would end up here. That they were serious. That this was permanent. And how does that make you feel? Like I lost something I can't get back. But also like I'm finally ready to move forward. That's significant growth, Claire. Maybe it was. Or maybe I was just tired of looking backward. The wedding happened without me. I didn't ask for details. Didn't look at photos on social media. Just let it exist as a thing that happened in a world I wasn't part of. My dad sent me a text afterward, "Wish you could have been there." I didn't respond. But a week later, I called him. "Hi, Dad." "Claire." "Hi. How was it?" "The wedding?" "It was good. Really good." "I'm glad." And I meant it. Not fully, not without reservations, but enough. "Maybe we could get dinner soon," he suggested. "Just us?" "Yeah," I said. "I'd like that." We did get dinner. And then another one. And slowly, carefully, we built something new. Not the relationship we'd had before, that was gone. But something different. Something honest. I never became close with Maya again. We existed in parallel. Polite at family events. Cordial when necessary. But never friends. And that was okay. Because I'd learned that closure doesn't always look like forgiveness. Sometimes it just looks like acceptance. Accepting that people make choices you don't agree with. That relationships end, sometimes messily. That family is complicated and painful and imperfect. Accepting that you can love someone and still set boundaries. That you can grieve what was lost while building what comes next. 2 years after the dinner, I met someone. His name was David. He was kind and funny and had no connection to my family drama whatsoever. On our third date, I told him the story. All of it. "Wow," he said when I finished. "That's, wow. Too much?" "No. Just, complicated. That's one word for it." Are you okay now? With all of it? I thought about it. Yeah, I said. I think I am. And I meant it. Not because the pain was gone. Not because everything was fixed. But because I'd survived it. I'd been betrayed by the two people I trusted most, and I'd survived. I'd rebuilt my life. Found my own happiness. Learned to exist in a world where my best friend was my stepmother and my father was someone else's husband. It wasn't the story I'd wanted to tell. But it was the story I had. And that, finally, was enough.